Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick update on accessories for the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3. So for those of you that have been following my coverage of this device, you already know that I think it's best in class, nothing like it on the market, especially from a reputable manufacturer. Fantastic 120 hertz front display, even better 120 hertz internal 7.6 inch display, under display camera that blends in, whether or not you love it or hate it. I'm always interested. Go ahead and drop a comment. And then a redesign of the camera array on the back, nice water resistance, no dust resistance. It's slightly lighter, and most importantly to me, we have an S Pen. But I haven't talked about this flip cover case, so let's get that out of the way right now, because this is one of two accessories I purchased. I didn't unbox it here on the channel. Got the packaging right here, very convenient, and I will include a link in the description. And for those of you that wonder, I did purchase all of this. Sammy didn't send it to me. If they want to in the future, I won't say no. I also purchased the wireless charging trio, which is designed, as many of you already know, to accommodate a phone, their buds, their earbuds, and a watch. Now, I don't own their earbuds. I have a lot of different earbuds, so it's something where, you know, Samsung refreshes them every year, just like everyone else. Thanks to Apple for creating this rush to have, you know, new buds every year. Not much changes. At any rate, it does make for great Black Friday sales. All that aside, let's talk about what's important. The flip cover case is a must-have accessory, but it's also a must-hate accessory. And I hate to say that, but for those of you that subscribe, you know you're going to get the real deal here. And the real deal when it comes to this case is that it's more flawed than complimentary. Now, I'll go over what those flaws are. You know, Samsung has made more flip-style cover cases than I can count in different varieties, usually every generation for just about every device they make. First and foremost, no way to see a notification on this, which I think is critical. They've got the cutout in order to take a call, which is nice, but how do you end one without opening this? So that's a pretty big flaw. It has the little magnetic wake up. That's nothing new. Also, the fact that they put the S Pen on the spine, you know, it might have seemed good in the lab, or whoever drew this up, possibly on the toilet, but it's bad because when you try to write on this display, if you put it down flat, of course, the spine now becomes a little seesaw, rocking back and forth. And that's yet another flaw in my opinion. Another one, and yes, the list goes on, is when you're holding this device. You know, I've seen a lot of people say that they actually like this lip that extends out. I kind of hate it because what I grew accustomed to with my Z Fold 2 was always holding the device like this, and then using my right hand to navigate when I'm not typing, obviously. But I've noticed that using it like this, I'm not getting like a form of carpal tunnel, but it does feel like, you know, my left thumb is getting a little more exercise than it needs holding in this position. It's going to give me like some kind of claw hand like this, if that makes sense. So not in love with this. I tend to end up folding it back, and then I'm saying, why is it even there? In addition to that, and I know it's like a laundry list already, why on earth this wasn't given the ability to act as a kickstand, I have no clue, because clearly it could have. All they would have had to do was put like a rubber foot on it, and yeah, don't try this, it's dangerous, it's working, but that tells you what you need to know. Sammy could have done this. So I've pretty much gone over all of the design flaws. Yes, it still protects the phone, which is good. Yes, on day one, it's the only way to cleanly carry the S Pen, and that's why I bought into it. Now, I didn't know it was going to be a flaming hot turd until it arrived. And I don't think it's worth $80. I think had Samsung at least, in spite of everything I've mentioned, used leather with this, the list of complaints would be far fewer, even if it does have all of these flaws that I personally have identified. Doesn't mean all of you agree, obviously, I don't expect that. But had it been leather, I think people would have felt like for 80 bucks, even if it was far from perfect, it wouldn't, I think, get the terrible reputation that it's getting right now for obvious reasons. And I don't know how well this is going to hold up over time. So if you're watching this video, 6 months after the launch of this device, and it's on sale for half price, maybe then it's worth it. But at $80, you only should really be buying this if you're in the first wave of Z Fold 3 buyers, because if you care about having the S Pen, this is the best way to do it now. Now, I've already ordered a Spigen case that was literally announced yesterday that's going to place the pen, their thin fit, on the front, or I should say the right side, rather than the left, which means that problem goes away. But it has no coverage of the spine, which some of you are going to be upset about. I don't really care so much about that. I just wish Spigen would have put a kickstand on it. I'm back to the same problem, because part of the beauty of this device is being able to put it on a desk, on a table, and let it sit up. I just don't know why more companies aren't doing that. And if they're listening, which hopefully they are, let's get to it, shall we? And the odd thing about this is that, when you look at the back of the box, which I'm going to show you right now, the flip cover was made in Korea, but the S Pen was made in China. Now, go figure. I really don't understand why Samsung bothered making this in South Korea when, the S Pen, which is the only decent part of this accessory, is made in China. I don't get it. So if this raised their costs, it wasn't worth it, Sammy. I mean, this could have been made in China and you could have made it $50. Now remember, this S Pen goes for $50 on its own. So when you put it into perspective, I still think it's, again, here in the days of no other options, it's worth it. I do not recommend the S Pen Pro. If you want it, obviously get it. I'm not discouraging that. But for $100, just to have functionality across other Galaxy devices and have Bluetooth capability, which means basically the air command gestures and being able to control the cameras, for me, that is a no-go. I really want the pen to write. That is the beauty of this gen, even if we can't write on this display because it's not the same type of glass as what we have on the interior. Food for thought. So again, the flip cover, nowhere near what I had hoped for, but it's serving its purpose until something better comes along. Now let's talk, and I think there are 4 replacement nibs for the S Pen. Let's talk about the Trio. Now the Trio is not something new, but it's new to my household. And I'm a big fan of Qi chargers, and I'm curious if all of you have gone through what I have, which is that a lot of these, especially from Sammy, after a year, sometimes 2, sometimes it's less than a year, they stop working. They just, crap out. And, Sammy's good about replacing them, but it's a pain in the butt. Let's not pretend. It's not like they just send you a free one. You've got to ship it out. You've got to go through an RMA process that nobody wants to go through, especially for an accessory that generally isn't expensive. Now, granted, these were the 2 I picked with my $200 in credit, besides upgrading this from the 256 gig internal storage to 512, which, if, like me, you care about internal storage on a device that cannot expand its storage, do it. Don't think about it. It's worth it. You won't see it in resale value or trade-in. It's just like a car. Rig it out and it's your loss, but it's also your pleasure while you use it, and I think there's value to that. But I'm hoping with this, we're going to have better quality than years past. Now, the one thing I can tell you already I don't care for about this, though, and this just seems like I'm ragging on Sammy all day, but it also reiterates nobody gets preferential treatment here in spite of what any of you might think out there. This device is flat, and the charger I'm presently using, which I covered in an unboxing years ago, keeps the phone upright, which means the form factor, the footprint, in my opinion, is superior. So this isn't going to be on my end table, I don't think, because inherently it's actually going to take up more space even if it has 3 charging spots. Of course, a good reason to pick this up is charging your device, because as many of you know, this phone does not come with a charging brick, which I could say shame on Sammy, but they said they did it for environmental reasons, so they get away with it, in my opinion. Especially if they have stats to prove that. I'm not here to call them out on it. It's not going to prevent me, clearly, from purchasing this phone, and likely won't prevent you. We all have a lot of chargers, and since they didn't upgrade the quick charging on this, it's not like you need a new brick, and they don't require you to send in the old brick on your trade-in, and if you have a Samsung or really any device other than an Apple device, you probably have something like this already waiting for this phone. But enough of that. I'm not going to use these to demo this for you, but it's pretty straightforward. Again, the Trio concept is simple. It's for a phone, their buds, and a watch. Now, I don't have their current generation of buds. I'm not going to use it in this demo. and I'm not even going to use their charger. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't use their charger, because you should, because who knows, it could end up, bricking the device. And Sammy, that's not how my device has bricked in the past. I always use the provided charger. But again, for this little demo video, we're going to use something else. So I've just got my HP 65 watt charger from my Spectre 13. Let's go ahead and get that set up. And there it is. Now let's go ahead and drop the Fold on there. And let's line it up. You can see the amber light right there representing one of the 3 devices. Next, let's go ahead and drop on. Now this is a several gen old watch, so it's not the latest and greatest, and I haven't been using it religiously, I'll be the first to admit it, but let's drop that on there, and it's totally dead, so you can see the next LED, the far right, coming up. We'll see if it even charges. It's not showing a charge. It's not showing that it's even getting any juice. Could it be that dead? Let's see if I even remember which button to actually turn it on. Well, it says it's charging. Let's hope it still works. I haven't used it in a while. And quite frankly, that's not why I'm jumping on the Gen 4 Classic, which is the one I would pick. If anything, it's the logical upgrade path from this. The Sport replacement, which is just the Galaxy watch now, they dropped the Sport brand, is nice also. So it's really a matter of what you're looking for. But last but not least, let's drop on the device that's supposed to go back tomorrow, my Note 9 for $450, which I may not ship back. And there you have it. It's charging as well. So if you want to charge 3 devices at once, this is a pretty good solution. Again, I wouldn't put it on my end table because I value that space and I would rather have something that's upright. This clearly is not, which means bigger footprint, less space on my end table. Not a huge fan of it. But that's a personal opinion. Again, you might prefer this because one downside to having those upright chargers is that you could drop your phone. It could fall off. And in the event that does happen, you are not going to be happy. Now, interestingly enough, the watch isn't charging anymore. So go figure. I don't know. That may be, there may be some kind of compatibility issue that I'm not aware of. If you are, oh, there it goes. As I say it, I'm proven wrong. I'll always prefer to be proven wrong when I'm actually wrong. And you should too, because you don't want to be that idiot who thinks they're right, who walks around and runs their mouth. So it's at 0. That may be the reason it's not kicking up, but it should, or it could actually be the 3 devices and the wattage. I'm not sure. I haven't played with it that much. I'll give you feedback, don't worry. But the blinking can't be a good thing, can it? Either way, this was just a quick video really to focus on the case. I'll include links for both in the description if you decide to pick them up. They were my choice. It was logical, practical, and again, I didn't really have a use for a new watch or buds, but now that we're seeing this happen, maybe I need a new watch. Of course, if I get one, you all will be the first to know. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button, and as usual, please feel free to subscribe, and please stay safe. Later.